Hey, what's up? I'm Karina. I'm a makeup artist. My focus is on natural and wearable makeup. If you want to learn how to add a little bit more variety into your routine while still keeping it natural and simple and wearable, then definitely subscribe. I would love to have you with me. Today is the first video I'm going to do of a series of videos that I plan to do called the Natural Makeup Series. So my plan is to break up basically the makeup routine step by step in different videos and give you tons of tips and techniques and product recommendations for that specific topic. So for example, today I'm doing foundation or base. So my goal is to have you walk away really understanding how you can make the products work for you and how you can apply your makeup in a beautiful and natural way so that you still feel like yourself, but you feel just like the most beautiful and enhanced version of yourself. You'll feel confident, but you won't feel overdone. So that's all gonna be in my natural makeup series. So today is video number 1, and it is all about the base. So foundation and powder. And then my next video will go into concealer. So I'm gonna actually break them up so there's quite a bit of detail jam-packed into the one video on the one topic. Without rambling on any further, let's get right into it. The first point I want to touch on is how to get your foundation to really look its best and how to get it to work for you in the best way. And that's always starting with skin and skincare. Your face is like a canvas that you put paint onto. So if your canvas isn't prepped, then the paint won't go on or lay on very nicely. I know that's obvious, but I'm a working makeup artist. I work on tons of girls for mostly bridal beauty. And when I'm working on a client that I can tell hasn't exfoliated for a long time and their skin is kind of like flaking or bumpy or whatever it is, then I know that whatever job I do or however much effort I put into that job, it'll never look as good as it will on someone else who's actually put that effort onto the skincare. Skincare routines are huge right now. There's like the 7-step Korean skincare that everyone's getting onto. But you don't have to do anything super complicated. The things that matter the most for your foundation laying on your skin nicely is exfoliation and hydration. So just keeping your skin exfoliated. This is the Summer Fridays Overtime mask. I really like this one because it's both a physical and a chemical mask, and every time I use it, my face really does feel a lot brighter and smoother. All the dead skin cells are gone and everything like that. So keeping it exfoliated and then also hydrated. I hydrate my skin twice a day, especially in the winter time, even if you have to use like a hydrating mask or something to really get it like supple. And I even shave my face sometimes. I'm kind of lazy with this because I just forget about it, to be honest, but when you take all the little baby hairs off your face, it does make an absolute world of a difference. I'm not really a hairy person in the first place. Like I don't have much hair, arm hair or anything like that. But again, when I'm working on clients that do have like very hairy faces, it's hard to get the foundation to like sink into the skin because it's just laying on top of like a thick layer of peach fuzz. I know that sounds kind of high maintenance, but it is the truth. And if you want to use like light foundation products and just have that really natural glow, then keeping your skin prepped is definitely key. I get these little razors on Amazon. They're super cheap. I think they're called Twinkle. Don't quote me. I'll link them down below in case you're interested about that, but make sure you do some research on how to do it properly so that you're not going to cut yourself or anything like that. The second thing I want to talk about is primers and products that you can mix in with your foundation to make it really work for you. I'll get into some really great foundation product recommendations in a second, but knowing your skin type is really key because sometimes a primer can add an extra layer of hydration, or if you're super oily, it can kind of keep the oils at bay for a prolonged period of time. I'm not a huge primer person, but sometimes I will add an extra one on when I'm feeling extra dry just to kind of lock my moisturizer in. But what I will do very often is mix my foundation with hydrating products. For example, like the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal, or like the MAC Strobe Cream. Any product that has a little bit of a dewy highlight to it. Another really good example is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I absolutely love this product. You can put this on underneath your foundation. You can mix it in with your foundation. You can lay it on top of your foundation. Today I laid it on top and you can just see it just gives you like a natural kind of healthy glow. So with all of the products I mentioned, you can either put it underneath, mix, or lay it on top, and I have a whole video on how to mix your foundations properly to get them to get it to really work for you, and I'll link it up here. And then of course you can always use your moisturizer to mix into a foundation to sheer it out a little bit more. But when I'm really trying to get that healthy glowing skin look, then I definitely will lay a product down first before I put my foundation on, or I will simply just mix it into my foundation. And that is going to make your foundation give you that healthy, gorgeous glow. Okay, so moving along, I want to talk to you about some actual products that I really, really love. Now, all of the products I'm talking about are products that are going to make your skin really feel like skin. So I'm not going to be speaking about anything that's fuller coverage, because that's not what this natural makeup series is obviously all about. The first thing I'll talk to you about though is I do have this kind of medium coverage foundation. It's the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation by NARS. Keep in mind you can use any foundation that you have and mix it with a moisturizer or one of those like glow products that I talked about to sheer it out. So sometimes I'll just use 1 or 2 pumps of this with a bit of moisturizer and put it all over my face and just blend it in with a brush, and it will give you like a tinted moisturizer kind of look. And then there's a couple other foundations that I really love. I have one of them with me, and that's the MAC Face and Body. So I'll use this in a lot of my makeup tutorials because it just does give you that absolutely gorgeous natural looking skin. So it basically evens your skin tone out without covering your skin up. So your blemishes will still kind of show through a little bit, but you can always go in after and do a little bit of spot concealing to cover up areas that you need a little bit more coverage. But I absolutely love the MAC Face and Body because it is so dewy and hydrating and just very natural looking. Dior also has a really nice foundation that's kind of similar to Face and Body. It's called the Backstage Face and Body Foundation. I don't have it with me, but I'll link it below and I'll put a picture up on my screen just to have another option for something that you can test out and try that is more on that natural end. Makeup Forever has a foundation called Water Blend. I think it's their Face and Body formula. I'll link that one down below as well. I've used that one a lot and also love it. Next, I wanted to chat to you about BB creams and CC creams. I use those a lot as well as tinted moisturizers. So the newest one that I just picked up is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. It is an absolute gorgeous product. It feels like so hydrating and not velvety, but kind of velvety, like it's just so smooth. Actually, that's what I'm wearing today, so that's what my whole base is. It just gives you a beautiful natural finish. It's very hydrating, so it's just like another layer of moisture you're putting onto the skin. I really, really love that one. Another one that I really like is the Smashbox Camera Ready BB Cream. I've used that for years and love it. The IT Cosmetics CC Cream is super, super popular. It's a really nice formula. I'll link that below as well. Another product I really like is the Maracuja Tinted Hydrator by Tarte. Now this one is very, very sheer. It's even more sheer than the Face and Body foundation, so it kind of depends what you're going for, but I really like this one if I just want to look as natural as possible and I just maybe just want to feel a bit more refreshed but not like I'm really wearing any makeup. So that's a good option for that. The nice thing about these sheer products is that your color match doesn't have to be as perfect as it does if you're going for a very full coverage foundation. And that's really nice right now during coronavirus because we can't test any of the products at Sephora or MAC or anything like that. So a natural looking foundation I really want to try is the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder. If you've tried that, then please comment below, let me know, and let me know if you like it. So all of those products I just talked about are really, really nice sheer coverage products. They go on beautifully to the skin. They'll even out and correct your skin tone without making you feel heavy or too much. And I feel like at my age now, like the more I age, the less makeup I want to put on my skin. And you know, like with the more fine lines we get, the more it kind of settles. So I find that opting for the more sheer coverage, by the time you put blush and bronzer and the rest of your face on, it's just perfect. It just looks really nice, but you feel pulled together and just like glowing and beautiful. Next, let's talk about application. Typically with the more sheer products, BB creams, tinted moisturizers, and light and sheer foundations, I kind of opt for my fingers because I like it to kind of just really like soak and blend into my skin. But usually after I use my fingers with the product, then I'll blend it out with either a brush or a sponge. I think the most natural finish you're ever gonna get is with a damp sponge. The sponge is beautiful because there's just no lines and it really kind of pushes the product into your skin. The downside with the sponge I find is that it's a little bit more time consuming and you have to wet it and wring it out and kind of get it ready for your makeup application. Obviously not a big deal, but it is a little bit more time consuming. I do use brushes often as well. The bigger the brush, the quicker your application will be. So I actually just got this Morphe M439, and it is still a dense brush, but it does have a little bit more like give or fluff to it. And I like the dome shape of it. So I think that does a really nice job of blending in. And then the other two brushes I'll use a lot. This is actually, I think this is supposed to be a blush brush, but I find it too dense to be a blush brush. That's the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH04. I find that does a really nice job with foundation. Just kind of shears out the product nicely. And then sometimes I just opt for a smaller brush, which will kind of transition to the next point I wanted to touch on. When I'm looking at my face and I'm about to put on any kind of tinted moisturizer, BB cream, whatever it is, I don't just like to saturate my entire face with it. I like to actually just use it in the areas that I really need. So most oftentimes that's starting in the center of my face and working my way out. I don't really need too much product to go up onto my forehead because it's always quite smooth, but I do, however, need more product on my jawline because that's where I get all my breakouts. So really just looking at your face and just applying the product where you need it, not necessarily covering your entire face up, is a really nice way to wear your foundation in a more natural way. And using a small brush can help with that because then you are just kind of pinpointing the areas that you need more coverage. Don't forget, you're always going to go in with a concealer afterward. So for your foundation, you don't really even need to put it in the areas that you know you're going to be concealing anyway. And that's a nice way to make your product last as well. And then to kind of wrap things up, I'll chat about powders just a little bit. I'm not a huge powder person myself, so sometimes I don't even set my face. Like today, I didn't even set it at all. But I do have super, super dry skin, so I can get away with that. If you have oily skin, obviously you do want to powder so the makeup stays in place. When I do go in with a powder, I personally always opt for a very kind of glowing sheer powder that's not going to make my face look too matte. The Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder is a really, really nice option. I love this one. The Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder, you probably have heard of, is super popular as well. Oftentimes I will use just a basic translucent setting powder. I have the one by RCMA, I can't remember, but I'll link it. But yeah, just really translucent and light powders. And I'll just take a really small brush, something like this, and I'll just, usually if I set my face, it's just kind of under my eyes and maybe around my nose a little bit, and that's pretty much it. Actually, sometimes I set my jawline where I've done some concealing because, like I said, that's where I get my blemishes. But just setting in the areas that you need it, not necessarily going in with like a big fluffy powder brush and doing your whole face. That's not always necessary. Again, you know your face. If you're a little bit more oily and you do need to powder, then just keep it really light so that you're not adding a ton of coverage to the beautiful sheer natural foundation that you just put on. The Jaclyn Hill Brighten Up Luminous Powder is really, really nice for the cheek area because it does just give you that extra kind of glow. On days that I do want a little bit more coverage, like around my eye area, then I do have the MAC Studio Fix Powder. This is in NC20, and it is just more of a like powder foundation. So if I want a bit more coverage, then I will go in with something that has a little bit more pigment to it. But in general, for powders, I like to stick to the more sheer and translucent and glowy powders. That wraps this video up. Let me know if you enjoyed it and if you learned anything that was helpful or useful to you. Leave a comment down below. And stay tuned for my next video in the natural makeup series. Next, I'm going to be talking about concealers. Which are the best ones, tips and tricks to apply them, how and when to apply them, what are the best tools, and all of the good stuff. So stay tuned, like my video if you liked it, and I'll see you in my next one.